Swipe Up, episode 228, the podcast where I share my unfiltered thoughts on the latest news and entertainment updates. I'm your host, Ray Taylor. The far right is calling for the execution of teachers and doctors. The U.S. citizens in healthcare and education are receiving death threats due to their decision to care for LGBTQ minors. Because they want to pretend, the conservatives want to pretend that they're protecting kids, even though there's no proof of, bad things happening, like their delusional thoughts of grooming and things. They really should focus on the abuses that kids are receiving at the hands of religious leaders or at the hands of parents who are indoctrinating and grooming their kids to be Nazis and white supremacists. That I would assume to be a much bigger threat. Raising your kids to be the next domestic terrorists, I think, is a much bigger threat than LGBTQ people being treated and cared for and considered humans, considered people that deserve to exist in the same reality as the rest of us. Just some basic humanity towards a group of people instead of demonizing them and putting targets on them. Like actually showing compassion, doing the things that the person they say they follow, Jesus, would do. Treat your neighbor as you would treat yourself. The golden rule, all that kind of stuff. The the Eau Claire School District, EAU, I don't know how to pronounce that, Claire School District, where one citizen received a death threat, was undergoing an election cycle, and articles in far-right media channels from local blogs and national behemoths like Breitbart and Fox News began to appear. There is a pattern of far-right personalities accusing teachers of quote-unquote grooming. Not only, far-right personalities, as in not only podcasters and the propaganda news networks like Fox and all those different networks that popped up over the last few years. They're all labeling these people as groomers, doctors as blaming doctors for quote-unquote mutilating and sterilizing minors, which is not what they do. It's completely garbage. And I'm sure there's going to be plenty of right-wing people in my comments crying about things, telling me how I'm wrong, how this is real, and this is what they're doing. They don't have any proof of this, but this is what they've been told, and that's what they want to believe because they need to demonize something, because they need to feel better about how somehow their existence is being marginalized and they're somehow being replaced, and they need their safe space they need the world to revolve around them. They need their little snowflake safe place, so they need to demonize these marginalized groups and go into these like tantrums about just completely fictionalized things. It's going to happen. I know it's going to happen. Hate targeting trans people has moved towards the center of the U.S. politics, obviously. Not only politicians, but also the celebrities, people that literally profit off of pushing these disgusting narratives. Not only conservative politicians and influencers seemingly scapegoat the LGBTQ people to incite fear and activate voters, because that's what they do. They make them scared. These people are absolutely terrified of mindless bullshit, and they have been mindlessly terrified. They've been controlled for generations. You go back into the history of the fascist movement, the right-wing movements throughout time, and that is what they do. They make their followers absolutely scared so that they can follow along and do the real horrific things, right? It's not changed. Their playbook has not changed. Just the targets have changed over the years as it's more beneficial for them, right? It's just absolutely disgusting. In 2022, conservative politicians spent at least $50 million on anti-trans campaigns to mobilize voters. Far-right influencers like Matt Walsh and Chaya Rankin, don't know how to pronounce that worthless name, have targeted hospitals and that provide gender-affirming care to minors, care that will help these kids, these decisions that have made between the children, their parents, doctors, actual health professionals, actual people who are involved in each specific situation. Ridiculous. So these hospitals that provide gender-affirming care to minors, including Boston Children's Hospital and Vanderbilt Clinic for Transgender Youth and Vanderbilt University, right? There's the story of the Children's Hospital having bomb threats from these insane domestic terrorists that are the self-proclaimed domestic terrorists known as the Republicans, the people who during the Republican convention proudly embraced the label of being domestic terrorists. And yet the media labels them as far-right extremists when in reality it seems like the general population of Republicans is for these terrorist acts. They are in support of these terrorist acts. Studies show that trans people are more likely to experience mental health struggles, including anxiety, depression, PTSD, and thoughts of suicide than cisgender people. Obviously, imagine existing in a world where your mere existence causes fear, just unsubstantiated fear in a large group of people, so much so that they threaten your life, so much so that they want your existence to be terminated. They do not want you to exist. They don't want the evidence of your existence to be available to the universe. So yeah, of course you're going to have all of those things, just not only to just exist as a different version of what human beings can express themselves in the infinite possibility of the way humans throughout history, way creatures, biological creatures in many forms exist. Just like it's not insane at all that somebody would be suffering from all those things when you're needlessly being demonized. It's just insane. Having your life threatened, right? These conservatives run for their safe space if anybody disagrees with just a minute thing. They crumble. Imagine if they had to put up with what the things that the absolute evil things that they do to trans people, to anybody that is not some straight white person. It is disgusting. Major governing medical bodies have endorsed gender-affirming care for youths. Right-wing figures, including Matt Walsh and Charlie Kirk, have openly attacked people in the LGBTQ community and those who protect them, with Walsh calling for the execution of doctors who provide gender-affirming care to minors. Right? They seemingly have no problem with priests who molest and rape kids. They seemingly have no problem with police officers that molest and rape kids. Like they don't really care about dealing with the real life threats to kids. Instead, they're pushing this false narrative because it serves them politically, because it serves them in their audience, in growing their audience. They have control. They are the tip of the spear of these mindless sheeple that want to attack people for being different. Label them as evil. Label them as the enemy with zero proof. With zero proof. The rhetoric is not only an attack on individuals' lives, but also makes communities less safe. No duh. Oh, having people openly call for the execution of doctors and teachers and demonizing human beings for no reason. Yeah, I wonder why that makes it unsafe. Not to mention the fact that the majority of domestic terrorist attacks happen from conservatives who buy their guns legally, who live in red states and in red cities. It's just insane. And they're all going to be crying in my comments right now. Whether you believe me, I don't care. There's people who, they don't cry. And it's whatever. That's all they do. That's all they do. They cry in my comments. They say I'm lying. They say I'm full of shit, right? They never have any information to actually back up their bullshit. That's just, they're regurgitating the things that they heard from Matt Walsh. They heard from Joe Rogan. They heard from Marjorie Taylor Greene. They heard from their daddy Trump. These little snowflake conservatives. They need their safe space. They need to pass laws in order for their safe space to be maintained. They can't have anything around them that may at any time make them feel uncomfortable. God forbid a conservative felt uncomfortable in this country. They will threaten you with death if they're not comfortable. Everybody else needs to change everything about their lifestyle, their existence on this planet to conform to their little safe space of fascism.
New episodes of The Ray Taylor Show come out every single day. Subscribe on YouTube and everywhere our podcasts are found. Binge the full week over at inspireddisorder.com/plus. Buy Ray Taylor Show merch over at inspireddisorder.com. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Peace out!
Today is the day where you wake up and you realize that everything that you've been dreaming about, everything that you've been wanting, every goal and wish and hope that you've ever had can become real. Dreams can come true. What you manifest in your mind, you can bring to reality.